Hey guys, welcome back with me. If we talk about carburetor, I think no one vehicle use carburetor nowadays. But some X-Trail vehicles still use carburetor as their fuel system. The reason? Carburetor has simple mechanism and it easy to maintain. Maybe some of you still confused how the mechanism inside the carburetor. Evidently, carburetor has the same principle with an airplane. What it is? Watch this until the end. Did you ever heard about Bernoulli's law? This law be a reason why a plane can floating in the air. But not only for a plane, carburetor use this law. In simple terms, Bernoulli's law explained the relation between the flow speed of fluid with the pressure. The faster the flow, the smaller the pressure. But the fluid not apply for only liquid things. The gas can influenced by this law too. Engine inhale the air through the intake manifold. This activity, creating an airflow inside the intake pipe. As the Bernoulli's law, the pressure inside the intake pipe must be smaller than the outside pressure. This difference is utilized to suck the gasoline inside the airflow. To be more understand, this is a fuel hose. This hose will distribute the fuel from fuel tank to this bowl-shaped part. This bowl is like a terminal for fuel while waiting to sucked in into the airflow inside the intake manifold. If we disassemble this bowl, we can see some interesting parts. First, it is float system. This system responsible to prevent fuel leakage to the intake. Tough the fuel tank installed higher than the carburetor. How it going on? You see this needle? This needle is like a faucet that it can close or open the fuel channel. But who control it? Hand it over this big component. Just called it buoy. As its name, buoy has ability to float in the fuel puddle inside the carburetor bowl. When the fuel inside the bowl is empty, the buoy will pull down. It make the needle is pulled down too. So the fuel channel opened. When the fuel is full, the buoy will move up. This movement will push the needle upside. When the needle is stuck in the top position, the fuel channel is closed and no more fuel flow into the bowl. Then, there are two mini pipe. They are pilot jet and main jet that has a job to transfer the fuel from bowl to the intake airflow. When we start the engine, there are airflow through the intake. As Bernoulli's law, the pressure inside the intake is lower than the pressure in the bowl. As natural, the fuel will flow to the lower pressure area. In this case, fuel will flow to the intake airflow through the main jet. The faster the intake airflow, the bigger the differences of pressure. It makes more fuel sucked into the airflow. But the question is, how to control the RPM. In this PE carburetor, we will see a component called piston. This piston located in center of intake pipe. This piston will control the width of intake pipe. When the position is in the bottom, the intake pipe will narrower. And if you see, this piston installed with pointed needle. So that in bottom position, the needle will close bigger part of main jet. It aim to avoid oversupply of fuel. Because in thin channel, air will pass faster even the total mass passed is small. The pointed needle will make sure that the sucked fuel is not too rich. With small amount of air and fuel, the engine will run in low RPM. But if the piston move up, it will widen the air channel. And the pointed needle close in small area. So that, more amount of air and fuel, it makes the engine run faster. Besides using a piston, some carburetor use a throttle gas that is located after the carburetor. It almost same like piston. If the throttle position is vertical, it will resist the airflow, so that the airflow hampered, and the airflow in the carburetor is lower. It makes low difference of pressure that makes lower fuel supply. But when the throttle position is more horizontal, it will lose the resistance, so that airflow through the carburetor will be faster and the difference of pressure also big. It makes more mass of air passed and more amount of fuel